Nick here over at Bullion Shark. Wanted to talk about something that we normally don't talk about because we talk about mostly numismatic coins. However, I think this is pretty relevant. So, the price of gold and the price of silver. More so, we'll talk about the price of gold today. Now, of course, with the election now being behind us, and of course, initially gold selling off because of the Trump win, thinking, of course, that policies and economic policies and, will be more pro-business as well as, pro-economic growth with the Trump presidency, that this, initially affected gold negatively. However, you have to really look at the bigger picture over the last couple decades. And if you look at this chart here that I have pulled up, this is basically the price of gold in comparison with the money supply of the U.S. Now, money supply consists of short-term securities, bank accounts, some money market funds, some retirement funds, all in between. But basically, as you can see, the major trend here is that as, of course, the U.S. money supply has increased drastically over the last 40 plus years, the price of gold has really gone parabolic. And more recently so, as a bigger increase in the money supply in a short period of time has happened, as you see from the '08 financial crisis over here, all the way to COVID era, where the money supply shot through the roof, with the Federal Reserve printing tremendous amounts of money, and all the quantitative easing and everything else. Basically, in essence, as you see, gold has started to go parabolic. Now, this makes sense, of course, right? So, the more dollars there are out there, naturally, gold has to, of course, move higher because more dollars are chasing the same amount of finite gold, as gold's a finite resource. Now, it's been a great preservation of wealth, and as you can see, really a huge price jump. And now we're at roughly $2,700 an ounce, and just a year or so ago we were under 2,000. So we've had a nice price appreciation because of that. Now, it's not just the U.S. dollar, right, that is getting basically devalued against gold. But, we could look at the euro the last handful of years. As you can see, the euro has fallen drastically against gold. Gold has gone up in euros. Gold has gone up in dollars. Gold has gone up tremendously in the Australian dollar. Gold has gone up tremendously versus the Canadian dollar. And basically any currency, the Japanese yen. We could just go on and on, but as you see, the British pound. Basically, in essence, gold the last handful of years has gone up in almost all currencies. And what do I think that is? It's just, the U.S. is considered the least dirty shirt in the room versus all the other global currencies that continue to devalue their currency as well and print more money and increase deficit spending. Now, do I think that, of course, with the Trump presidency, that gold is going to continue its bullish run like it has the last handful of years? I think initially, of course, as we have seen, we had a slight sell-off, but now we've started to bounce back from that. And I think that gold really, irrespective of any of course, the who's in office or what outcome has happened. Trump and his administration are not going to be able to turn things around overnight. And in order for gold to stop its climb here, at least in U.S. dollar terms, the government's going to have to stop spending and actually start reducing deficit spending. Now, remember, the Federal Reserve has a huge balance sheet of trillions upon trillions of dollars just sitting on its balance sheet, number one. That, like I said, they kind of created a thin air. And number two is that, just because even if the government, Trump and his, Doge or his, basically department, that he has created in order to make the government more efficient and cut spending, even if they got the deficit, the federal deficit on an annual basis, or the budget, I should say, balanced, you have almost $1 trillion a year just on the current deficit of increased debt that's going to transpire just because of the current deficits that the country's running at $36+ trillion a year in deficit. So, I don't think gold is going to decline. I actually think, and this is just my personal opinion, that gold's going to continue to, to basically stampede higher. Maybe at a slower pace if they really do get the government spending under control. But I mean, if they continue to run deficits, and we already have a tremendous federal deficit of 36 plus $1 trillion, I mean, $1 trillion plus just at current interest rates right now is going to, continuously naturally increase the money supply and increase, of course, the price of gold, I think, in turn. Now, with other countries around the globe, I mean, their economies are nowhere near as strong as the U.S., and I think, that's going to cause, of course, price appreciation in gold against other currencies as well. So I don't think that governments are going to just magically overnight stop spending. I don't think that they're going to cut spending to such a degree that they're going to be able to make it unattractive to own gold. I think actually the opposite. And I think, of course, as they're starting to cut interest rates, I think inflation might start to peak up again and start to pick up. And if that happens, of course, inflation and gold kind of go hand in hand. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, gold has been a great place to park some cash, especially, like I said, in other currencies. I mean, some currencies more pronounced than others, like the euro, like the Aussie dollar, the Japanese yen, even the Swiss franc. I mean, look at the Swiss franc. Gold has appreciated tremendously off that. So this is like I said, even if gold wasn't to move up as much versus the dollar in the near term, I think versus other currencies, as the dollar, if the dollar does get stronger, the other currencies are going to devalue, and that could actually push the price up in gold in their dollar terms. So I think it's a very bullish aspect and outlook for gold. If you look the last, almost 30 years, the price of gold has actually outperformed the S&P 500, even with dividends reinvested the last 24, 25 years. Slightly, only by a percent or so, but still, it's maintaining, its pace alongside with equity markets too. So don't be fooled when people tell you that, stocks is the only place to put your money, because at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, I mean, that's just not historically true. But also, one thing is, we don't know what the future brings, and, things could change on a dime. So, I mean, this is just, like I said, my opinion, but I think that we're going to see, sustained long term price increases in gold unless governments really cut back their spending and actually start reducing deficits, which is going to be very difficult. Until next time, my friends.